Gary recently moved. He sold 2,000 pieces of vinyl, and he kept 200. Who'd you let go, Gary? What was the big decision?
Most of it. Well, I mean, I kept a lot of the box sets. I kept most of the Springsteen. I had a bunch of autograph stuff, and
let her go.
But I also had a lot of stuff that you know that I really just didn't need, and I just didn't have room for.
Wow.
I just wondered where your new listening area is.
Still working on that.
I see.
Oh, that's exciting.
Which means wherever Mary tells me it can be, and she hasn't decided yet.
Yeah.
She was like, well, if you sold all the records, you don't really need to bring like that record player and that amp and those speakers, do you? And I'm like, no. And she's like, you hardly ever listen to it. I go, no, I listen to it. And then
She thinks it's stupid, too.
she probably does, yeah.
Gary.
Yeah. So dumb. Just get rid of all your vinyl and just stream and listen to like Sirius XM. And
Is
I
she
do all
still
that,
trying
too.
to find a place for that big console?
The console made it over here, but under protest. It was my mother's piece, and everybody that comes to the house loves it. They go, wow, we really love that piece, except for Mary.
Gary's considering selling his jukebox, too. All the dumb shit that Gary's bought over the years, now he's
Wow.
selling off to other maniacs. So thank God there are more maniacs. What can you get for your vinyl?
It was less than I thought.
You sold 2,000 pieces, as you call them, pieces of vinyl. How much do you get? Can I ask?
Yeah, I think it was about $3,000.
Oh, all right. That's more than I would have thought you'd get.
I
think that's a
thought he
decent.
had some kind of great collection, Howard.
Nobody wants that shit. No one. I bet you the guy said to Gary, he goes, listen, dude, I know you think this is valuable. Go try and sell it.
Well, I think the problem was I had a lot of the records in my collection had been in a flood some years ago, so a lot of them, I would say like a third of them were, were kind of wrecked. So,
$3,000 sounds like a gold mine.
We're hearing that you made out like a bandit.
I think I did.
Excuse me, if you keep a penny glued to your stylus, I believe these will play because they were in a flood. They're rather warped. Who the hell is buying his used vinyl?
His warped vinyl.
I spent some time thinking about Gary over vacation. It was driving me crazy. I was thinking about that time when he was Techno Beaver, we used to call him, but he was, what you call Gadget Gary, right? That was
Gadget
your name.
Gary, yes.
Gary always wants to be a performer. I know that about him. And for some reason, he became an expert on tech.
Well, he was writing for these sort of online magazines or something.
No, they were actually in your house, Robin. Real life.
Oh, really?
Magazines.
They were real magazines?
Yeah. And so Gary found a hook to get himself on TV. And then Geraldo Rivera invited Gary on to talk about gadgets. He even introduced him. He goes, this is Gadget Gary.
Here to talk about the rollicking pace of technological change from the way we watch movies to the way we read books. I'm joined by the CW's Gadget Gary. He is, in reality, Baba Booey, the executive producer of The Howard Stern Show.
There's the expert. I remember I was thinking about Gary, and I was like, where the fuck does Gary come off being an expert on tech? He doesn't, I mean, he likes tech, but he doesn't know anything.
Is he technical?
And then it made me think about the bigger picture. I started to think, you know what? All these news shows I watch, when they have experts on, I just assume these guys are experts. But now I realize they're not, because they had Gary being the gadget expert. Because Geraldo was like, hey, here's Gadget Gary. And I'm like, people who knew our show knew Gadget Gary was bullshit. But I watch these news shows and they go,
out there who doesn't know and they think Gary's an expert.
That's what I mean. Like people in Kansas thought that Gary knew what he was talking about.
Is the iPad another breakthrough for Apple?
I don't know that it's a breakthrough for them. In fact, I think in a lot of ways it was a bit of a stumble for them. There's a lot of things that are missing from the iPad that I hear people talking about that they say are a deal breaker. But for me, I'm trying to figure out, well, who's it for? In other words, if I have, let's see here in my pocket, I have an iPhone, right? So if I have this, the iPad is a bigger version of this. So if I have this, why am I going to pay $800 for that and another $30 a month if I want to get it on the 3G network?
Gary was wearing a spindle necklace while he was on the show.
In a lot of ways, it was a bit of a stumble.
He was looking for an identity as Gadget Gary. And
yeah, I may have been wrong in that clip, Howard. Just a little.
Just a little.
well, you're Gadget Gary.